he? Aubameyang! Oh, brilliant! He took it first time, and with devastating effect. Put through by Steve Bold, would you believe it?
I don't want to waste what's left. The storms we
chase. The game, according to the referee in Burnout, certainly life in hand.
No, I don't want to waste what's left. And on we'll go.
Henri, what a goal!
Stands through the highways till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go.
He's in again, pushed out by Bartes. Wiltor!
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Blind Gooner. Listen, I hope you're all doing safe and keeping safe and well. Listen, it's the day after the night before, and joining me, I've got Scott from the Red Cannon. How you doing, Scott?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, mate. I know we've been trying to do this for a while. I just wish it was on much better circumstances. Couldn't be worse circumstances, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, I'm here in spirit.
Yeah, listen, what did you make of it last night? Listen, I know it feels like I'm still in a daze. Do you know what I mean? I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's absolutely that. You know,
it's
really
just tough, isn't it? It's so tough.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I did on the channel, I did my preview yesterday and I got a bit excited, getting hyped up, and then we done the watch along, and I'd already preempted the phone-in show I do after the watch along. And I thought, you know what, if we lose tonight, this is going to be, it's going to be busy. Everyone's going to have something to say. 4 hours later, I got off of that phone-in show, so I didn't actually, my head didn't hit the pillow until about 3 o'clock this morning, and I'm not going to lie to you, Daniel, I'm still digesting it. I was in the shower this morning. And I feel hungover. I feel like I've done 10 rounds of Mike Tyson. My head is battered. Like I'm quite new to the scene, as you know, as far as YouTube. And I wouldn't say I've had any burnout as such, but this is as close to burnout as I've got, because I caught a bit of your stream last night with Melina. I saw a bit of it this morning. I caught a part, and you were saying, you know, going forward, you almost. I have this ritual with Arsenal, and if I didn't have a YouTube channel, this is kind of what happens. The season goes to shit. We get knocked out of whatever that last competition is, or we, you know, top four's unattainable. And then I bury my head in the sand. I just go, do you know what? I'm done with Arsenal. Like, they can just get to fuck. I'm burying my head in the sand. I forget about it. Enjoy the Euros or the World Cup if it's on. And then I come back out of the sand around about, you know, August, look at the transfer rumours, and I get sucked back in. Obviously, like yourself, having a channel now, I can't do that. But I'm just struggling to motivate myself this morning to... You know, if it wasn't for you inviting me on, I probably wouldn't be here. I just genuinely Arsenal have done that to me.
Do you know what, mate? It's exactly the same thing. And I was saying to the guys here, everybody in the chat yesterday, I was saying, do you know what? I don't even know if I want to do these previews, reviews. I'd rather just do some fun content. Do you know what I mean? Just to kind of take the edge off, because it honestly, mate, it hurts. Do you know what I mean? Like, and do you know what it is, right? What I'm sort of angry as well, because we know that nothing's going to change. You know, and I've just seen ZH here in the chat as well. And yes, I have seen those comments from David Ornstein. And you know what? I saw them and it just made me even more angry. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But mate, we know nothing's going to change. And I'm just like, I'm just so done with it. And you know, the sad thing is as well, and a lot of people will ask, well, you know, are you going to give up your season ticket and all that? But you know what it is? I always say this.
Why should you have to make that sacrifice? It's part of you and who you are.
Do you know the thing is, right? And a lot of people don't realize this, that going to games is not just about going to the games. It's not, there's more to it than the game of football, you know, just going to meet up with people and going to the pub and just having a day out. Do you know what I mean? So
but Daniel, that's what sport is. That sport is meant to bring people together. I put a tweet out this morning. because rest his soul. Obviously, Claude has been laid to rest this morning. And I said, guys, just put it in context. When we're all on Twitter later or Instagram or whatever you use, and we're all arguing with each other and we're all bashing each other, because this is what happens and it's very, very sad. Just remember that sport, it's a quote unquote, the government call it a hobby or pastime. It's meant to enrich your lives. It's meant to bring people together for you have a common interest. You meet people. Without Arsenal Football Club, I wouldn't be talking to you now. I've only been on the scene a couple of months, as you know, and I've already started to make people that I'm thinking I'm making friends here. Like, this is enriching my life. It isn't just about what you see on the pitch. And when you have nights like last night and the club has got to the point where it has now, you think to yourself, I'm not feeling enriched. I mean, I described it last night on my phone. I had some great guests on last night, some people coming in. Naturally, there was a lot of, shall we say, reactionary comments, but there was a lot of good points made. And some people were saying, like, I feel numb, Daniel. I feel numb. Like, I don't think it's sunk in yet. I don't think it's sunk in.
Mate, it's, do you know what? I echo what you say, because I'm just like, last night, honestly, and it was kind of a weird game for me, and in the sense that, yes, I know we played crap, and we didn't really do nothing, but the game went in 3 stages for me, because it started off okay, we got to half time, and okay, yes, we didn't really play that well, and I was like, okay, 0-0, you know what, yeah, we've rode our luck at times, but we're still in it. And then it got to about 60 minutes, and I'm like, it hit me. I was like, I don't even think we're gonna do it. I was like, do you know what? I can't see us winning it. I was like, yeah, for as much as we're competitive, and for as much as I just got that feeling. I was like, we ain't doing it tonight. It's not gonna be our night. And it got to 20 minutes to go, and I was like, okay, yeah, we could still do it. It got to, I think it was around about 15 minutes to go that Auba hit the post, and I was like, okay, do you know what? Fair play. We could still do it. We could. And then it got to 8 minutes to go, and I was like, we ain't doing it tonight. We're not doing it. And then it got to 3 minutes, and I was like, just throw everything at it. Just literally throw it. And they weren't doing it. I was like, we ain't doing it. And then about the last minute, I was like, it's done. We ain't. So the game was just like, it was slipping away as time went on.
It's just traumatic. It's something that we've just become used to over the years. I mean, I was, how old am I now? 36. I was 36 yesterday. And listen, I mean, 20 years ago, I remember when we used to lose. I was talking yesterday about the Wayne Bridge goal, arguably the most painful goal I can remember, because we were the best team in Europe. And without him scoring that goal, Mourinho doesn't happen. But I think back to how much it used to hurt me when we used to lose. And I had previous girlfriends have come and gone since then, and they've all been the same, like, oh, Arsenal lost, he's got the ump. My partner at the moment, bless her, she doesn't even turn, she just completely just goes, oh, okay, well, you've lost, all right, well, you're used to it, you'll be fine, crack on with your day. Because I don't react in the way. I've become numb, and I think I've come to the point which is, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of anger and hatred inside, about how I feel about the club. If you watch any of my streams, anybody that's in your chat, I do tend to rant a bit from time to time. But what the overall feeling I'm feeling at the moment is, and there was a little bit of almost sadness. When the Super League got announced, so when that came out, I woke up the next day and I felt like I was always mourning my club. Like, I thought, do you know what? We're going to go in the Super League. He's never going to invest. He doesn't invest as it is. We're going to get smashed up every week. We're going to get humiliated. The league games won't matter anymore. And arguably, as we're going to find out that, the remainder of this season, it's irrelevant. And I'm thinking, is that what I've got to look forward to? And I was mourning the club. Obviously, we move on to a couple of days and that's off the table. But I'm back there again, Daniel. I feel like I don't want to put rest in peace Arsenal and be reactionary and stuff like that, because I think it's a bit easy to do that sometimes. But it's just, as we was just saying off air, I don't know where we go here, because from the top to the bottom, it doesn't matter. I mean, we'll get onto Arteta, no doubt, but before we do that, we can get rid of Arteta today. And I ain't, like many people, I genuinely will be like, great, whoever we get should be an upgrade. But it's not enough. It needs to be more. Not
if it's Maurizio Sarri, it isn't. Honestly,
yeah.
Do you know what? I tell you what, I've said it, and I stand by what I say. If we get rid of Arteta and Maurizio Sarri comes in, for me, that's not an upgrade. Yes, we'll have got a manager with experience, but I don't want Maurizio Sarri anywhere near this team. It'll just be an absolute.
I said that.
I don't want him, and I'll not back him. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, but you want to change your." Yeah, but I'll not back him. Do you know what my ideal? And do you know what? And I've thought about this a lot, and I'll get onto your point in a second. But I've thought about this so much, and the guy who I think would be ideal to steady the ship and maybe just get us competing again, and maybe get us really competing, just to kind of bridge that gap and maybe get us back into Europe next season would be Rafa Benitez. I honestly would take Rafa Benitez, just to maybe not as a long-term project, and maybe not as a long-term manager, but just someone who can come in. And I remember he did similar things at Chelsea with Chelsea when they had a season out of Europe. And I think,
didn't he?
I think we need that. Do you know what I mean? We need that. Yeah. We need somebody to come in and just to steady the ship. But you know what? It goes much deeper than Arteta. Yes, Arteta's a problem, and we'll get onto that very shortly. But these owners, I tell you what, these owners, these parasites in charge of our club, I tell you what, these are the biggest issue, because they don't see there's a problem. And you know what? Now would be the perfect time for Daniel Ek to come in and put in a bid. Honestly, today I would do it today. Like if I was Daniel Ek,
if I was Daniel, I would have been on the phone at fucking half time last night to Cronkies, because listen, I mean, for me, this whole Cronky debate, I mean, on your channel, on my channel, we've discussed it to the nth degree over the last couple of weeks, right? And I keep repeating myself saying, do you know what? I wish I was doing this 4 or 5 years ago, because I remember having this conversation about Cronky with a good friend of mine. And he was very like, no, I don't want Usman off. And we used to, and I remember talking about the Cronkies years ago. And I think, I wish I was around, because at least I could sort of say, not I told you so, but it would back up that it was obvious. This was clearly always going to be an issue. And I was saying to him 5-6 years ago, for all the people that wanted Wenger out, this is how I describe it. It was like a relationship that was coming to an end. You love each other. You've got a couple of kids, but neither of you could walk away. It was hard. It was hard for, when you're in, I've not been in that position, but I can imagine if you're in a loveless marriage and you've got kids and there's a lot involved, it's not easy to cut that tie. We was in that position with Wenger for a number of years. Someone had to make the first move. And I think ultimately it was the fans. Some people are, a little bit more cutthroat than others. So we burnt that bridge. Wenger had to go, and I'm not saying he didn't have to go, but ultimately, the Cronkies were never going to be exposed until that shield of Wenger was gone. He was a shield for them. We used to say, Wenger, he won't spend. He's purse strings. Yeah. Maybe he is one that, maybe he is naturally that way in his personal life. Maybe he doesn't believe in overspending. But let's be real, the ambition and the funds were never there. And I always said it will take a manager, 2-3 managers, before the Cronkies get found out. Now, they've played their hand, with the Super League. They've just completely, played their hand on the cards on the table, and we've gone, right, well, now we know, But what frustrates me a little bit is if the Super League hadn't happened, all the energy that we've had on Cronky out over the last couple of weeks, would that have been there? Like, where has that been all this time? But either way, regardless of whether, regardless of how long it's taken us to get there, the energy. And I said this on my stream yesterday, and I've been saying it all week. My biggest fear was to get knocked out of this Europa League. And let's have it right. Arteta's going to get sacked at some point, right? Whether it's today, whether it's the end of the season, in the summer or Christmas, he is going to get sacked. Every manager gets sacked, okay? And that's how it rolls. It's easy. It's very easy for us to get rid of the manager. So I went to the protest the other week. I done my bit. And, there's talk of protests this weekend. Ultimately, like you said there with Daniel Ek, it's about money. And if the offer comes in and it's what they want and they're willing to sell, we can get rid of these owners. But what we got to do, we've got to keep applying that pressure. And exactly what you just said there. Right now, if there was ever a time, I'll put it this way, I'm going to say this on now, right? If they don't sell within the next 18 months, then they're going nowhere until Stan dies. Okay, and that's how I see
Yeah.
it. If they don't go in the
you're
next
right.
18 months, Stan's got to die, and then Josh has got to say, do you know what? Not really interested.
And they never sell any of their sports teams. That's what's worrying me. They never sell any of their sports teams. And do you know what? For me, right? They've said, and I don't believe them because they've not done it up until now. But here's the thing: what needs to happen is Arteta needs to be sacked. They need to sack him. They need to bring in someone with experience. And if they're not going to sell, which, you know, there's a lot of people think that they won't. I don't want them anywhere near here, this club. But if they're not going to sell, they need to spend at least 200 to 300 million on this team. No, I'm not even joking.
Daniel, every year,
they
not
need
just
to
one
spend,
summer.
They need to spend 200 to 300 million. Not necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily say every single year.
No, but it needs to be continuous investment. There needs to be continuous. You've got to keep ticking
of course.
Over. Yeah.
But to properly really overhaul this team, and let's be honest here, and this is why, yes, the Cronkies are at fault, and that's the bigger issue at the club. But this is why my immediate concern is Arteta, because a lot of people are, and this is why I think, yes, you need to lay blame at some of these players, but I'm looking at it as we have got decent players in this team. Thomas Partey, right? Yeah, is a casing example. Absolute quality at Atletico Madrid. And I know that the league is totally different over there, but I genuinely believe, right, that Thomas Partey is a decent player. But when you're being coached by somebody who's not got any experience, it's so easy to lose that quality. And I genuinely believe that Arteta's got these players playing with the handbrake on. I genuinely believe that, because some of them, you can see the talent is there. Bukayo Saka, Smith Rowe, decent players, absolute bags of potential, but they need to be coached by the right person. Same with Thomas Partey. Listen, Aubameyang, I know a lot of people are going to level criticism at Aubameyang. Yes, he had a poor game yesterday, but let's be honest here, and I've got to call it how I see it, and that he got hardly any service yesterday because there was not enough cohesion in the team, and it was more about Arteta. Seemed to me yesterday with the team selection and the way the team played, it was more about keeping our shape than actually taking the game to Villarreal. Because I said it time and time in that game yesterday with the people I was watching. I said Arteta needs to, if he's got anything about him, he needs to get our strikers like Aubameyang. He needs to get Pepe, Saka, Smith Rowe, pile in on their keeper, because let's be honest, their keeper was ropey from minute 1 to 90. I said, put him under pressure, but he didn't do that. They were so hell-bent on keeping that shape, and it just didn't work. And we've seen that this season, especially our home form. We've been pacifiers against teams that we should be beating. And yes, we know that some of these players aren't good enough. I accept that, and it's a valid point. But we still have enough quality in that team to be higher up that table. This is why I've seen some Arsenal accounts on Twitter saying that, if we got in a new manager, we'd still be in the same position. Yes, we're not going to be any better. We wouldn't
be in the same position. No,
but that's what I mean. Yes, we're not going to be any better. We're not going to be. We ultimately we're not good enough to challenge, but we should be with these group of players. If they are coached by the right manager, then we've got enough in our squad to be up that table. Yes, the squad still needs investment. It does. But I think leveling it at the players, I honestly think, right, and yes, the players need to take some responsibility. And I'm not defending the players, but I just think the bigger issue is Arteta. Because here's the thing, right? Yeah, you're taking Aubameyang off after 60 minutes when he's just hit the post, the closest we come to scoring a goal. And here's the thing. we only had one shot on target, 1 or 2 shots on target in the entire semi-final across both legs. When
Daniel,
you factor that in, it's appalling. It's absolutely appalling. And do you know what it is? The Villarreal squad, right? And this is why I don't necessarily blame the players as much as I blame Arteta, because Villarreal, right? Yeah, they're a worse team than us. Like when you look at the squad, they've got their players aren't that good. But when you've got a manager who coaches them in the right way, they played. I always look at Arsenal and Villarreal, and I looked at, we've got the better quality in terms of player, but they played it to a T. Emery, he played it to a T with the players that he's got. They might not have
scored Daniel. He absolutely he scored Arteta. I mean, we found out who was the teacher or young Padawan, as they say in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few points like on what you just said there. Is you mentioned about Partey and let's be real, he's come from a better team and he just looks like a pound version of himself. I always say, and this isn't just in football, this is in life, you're very much a product of your environment. And this is why people tell you, at least I don't have children, but if I do have kids, one of the lessons I want to teach them will be surround yourself with people that you believe are better than you at the things that you want to do. And I don't mean that so you feel inferior. Learn. Life is a learn. It's a learn experience. From the moment you're born to the moment you pass away, you're always learning, okay? And when you're surrounded by negativity, you become negative. Many people here in the chat, maybe yourself, Daniel, been in jobs where, you get people who are just disgruntled and they're unhappy in their workplace. And eventually you get sucked in, you become negative too. It's very easily done. And being negative is always the path of least resistance. It's a natural human emotion. We find it easier to express negativity, which is ultimately why, we have a lot of these, fan forums and YouTube channels. But also, to put it more in context on the pitch, if you're surrounded by crap players, that brings you down. And I honestly think that Partey's levels have dropped because of the players around him. And I think that I'm not making excuse for Partey. And if anybody was on my watch along last night, I did give Partey a hard time. And the reason I was giving him a hard time is because I'm looking at that pitch and I'm saying, do you know what? We spent big money on you. And now the money's got nothing to do with him. But Villarreal is a Spanish team. It's a team he's been playing up against in the La Liga. Playing them in the Europa League should be no different. This is where we're so unfortunate as Arsenal fans that, Partey, he never had an injury. And then he comes to Arsenal, bam, out straight away. The Arsenal jinx, it feels like we are cursed. We're cursed in the transfer market. We're cursed with player injuries. And the old saying, when it rains, it pours. And I think this season, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. And none of those things are excuses for Arteta. As you just said, right, that substitution with Aubameyang, when you do watch-alongs, I don't know if you do them, Daniel, I believe you do, but when I'm doing a watch-along and I'm talking to the audience and I'm engaging with the chat, I sometimes miss things. Like sometimes I miss stuff on the pitch.
Oh, mate, that's why I stopped doing watch-alongs, because I was getting 4 or 5 people watching, and I wasn't being able to listen to the game, and it was just so time-consuming and not really getting the return on them. Like,
But
do you know the thing is with Aubameyang, right? Yeah, he might have had a poor game, right? And he did. Like, he had a poor game, but I think that was partly down to the fact of lack of service because we were so conservative, and partly to the fact that he didn't get enough shots. You give Aubameyang a whole host of chances to score, the chances are he's going to bury at least one of them.
Eventually, of course he will.
And the thing is, right? Yeah. It only takes a second to score, and I think with Aubameyang, he would. I honestly believe this, that if we had left him on the pitch, he would have buried one, especially when we were sort of tentatively throwing everything at the kitchen sink. And I say that loosely because we didn't do it. In my opinion, we didn't get enough balls into the box. But this is what my argument is. When people say, this squad is still crap, we don't have decent players. We do have decent players. And this is why I level it at Arteta, is because Martinelli should have started. He should have started. Balogun should be at least given a chance. Here's the thing, right? Yeah. If you're going to throw, and this is why I level a lot of my blame at Arteta rather than the players. If you're going to, 3 minutes to go, you're throwing on Eddie and Nketiah. What the hell are you doing? Eddie
came on and just made a load of fouls. All Eddie done was run the fucking clock down.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's useless. But yeah, if you're going to give Eddie a chance, who's done next to nothing in this team, but yet Balogun for the under 23s for his team that he for the team that he plays for, he's got one of the best records this season, Balogun, and yet you're not putting him in the first team. Why? You're not giving him a chance, but yet you're giving.
Do you know what it is,
Eddie
Daniel? Arteta just doesn't help himself. He for every time something goes his way, because let's have it right, we were out of this tie after the first leg. Like, we should never have been in that tie. If you take away Leno's save and a lucky pen, because it was a lucky pen, we were lucky to be in it. And every time Arteta gets a bit of luck in his direction, he just shoots himself in the foot with absolutely scandalous and stupid decisions. When I looked on the pitch, and as I was saying to you about the watch along, I didn't realise that Willian come on, and I've looked and I've gone, fuck, what's he doing on there? Like, and I'm like, and straight away, to me, as soon as Williams on the pitch are down to 10 men, that's on Arteta. That's clearly this geezer's got something in his contract, because I cannot fathom for the life of me why Arteta has put consistently, hasn't had as many minutes as he was getting, but he's always got to get shoehorned in there somewhere. When you need a goal, and it's the most important game of the season, you take off your striker that, like you said, on his day, with enough chances, Aubameyang, if you've got one chance, one-on-one, he's the man you want it to fall to. And you've got a player like Willian, who's been with us nearly a year and is yet to register a goal. You can't... People that... there are a lot of people that were very sort of... I wouldn't say pro-Arteta, but there's been a lot of fans who have been like, do you know what? They keep making excuses. They're giving him time. They're saying, let's just see what happens.
If people keep defending him, man, people keep defending. And this is the thing. Arsenal Manic here in the chat says it brilliantly, right? He said, top managers get the best out of the players they have. And that is so true, right? Because you look at Chelsea. Chelsea's a case in point. Yes, they had a few better players than us, but ultimately, when you look at them under Lampard, players like Mason Mount, they were great. And I thought he was a great player, but he's not quite clicking. Under Thomas Tuchel, he's an absolute beast. You look at other players under them; he's got them playing like a team. And this is why I level most of my blame at Arteta, because it's just the way he sets us up. He doesn't have a... And do you know the sad thing is, and what really makes me angry with Arteta is you see all this crap yesterday about, we done enough to win the game. Well, obviously we didn't, because we didn't win the game. If we'd have done enough to win the game, we would have won the game. And secondly...
you seen his quotes this morning?
And secondly... time and time again this season we play poor, and Arteta's gone, I thought the boys played really well today. I'm just like, seriously, mate. Do you know what? I'm so tuned out
Daniel,
of Arteta.
It's insulting. He insults our intelligence. He thinks that we're idiots. He thinks that, we are just... He's very arrogant. And I'm not saying that arrogance is necessarily a bad thing, because I think we've all got it in us somewhat. But footballers, it's a very common trait for footballers to be arrogant. And that can be a positive as well. But when it's arrogance, but it's unfounded, and that's the thing. And he carries this arrogance about him. I mean, I've been saying on my streams for the last couple of weeks that he's rubbed me up the wrong way with the way he has openly backed the Cronkies in his statements. Like, he's been asked questions where he's had the opportunity to give a very neutral answer. And instead of giving that neutral answer, like listening to the fan base, recognising that there's protest, recognising that we want him gone, he actually he's put in these little comments whereby he's got his tongue up their arse. And it's been rubbing me up the wrong way. And I've lost respect for him over that. And that's not even including what's happening on the pitch. But what it says to me is, I was quite clear. I said this 2-3 weeks ago.
What did he say this morning? What did he say this morning? Because I missed his quotes this morning.
Well, he's done it. I've got the quotes here. He was talking on. I've seen this out on Sky Sports, but the quotes here are. Let me read them for you. Asked why Arteta. Where are we? Hang Hang on, sorry.
Remember, guys, do hit the like button and subscribe. There's 19 in the chat, so yeah, big up to yourselves. Please smash the like button.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there's a quote here. Since I've arrived here, what I've tried to do, give in my life my best ability, invest in every drop of energy that I have emotionally to support everything that has been going around with the knowledge, with my knowledge, with staff, with all the players that are trying to contribute with all the club to give our best. But so far, it's not been enough. And when the question mark comes, why it's not enough, is it just a thing? Is it the manager? Is it other stuff? What is it? And then this is football. Again, I repeat myself. Last night, that ball goes in. We win 1-0. You're in the final. It's a different world. But today, the world doesn't look very nice. Again, Arteta, if the ball goes in, it doesn't mean you're going to win 1-0. I genuinely think that Villarreal had more levels. If we had scored, I think we probably would have conceded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mad. Look, Scott, where do we go from here as a club and as a fan base? Because I'm going to be I've leveled with my viewers. I said I don't even know if I can bring myself to do Arsenal content for the rest of the season. I feel like just doing some fun content and just just doing something other than this mess. What's the point? It's meaningless. These games are meaningless. We're out of Europe for the first time in 25 years next season. There's no way we're ever going to get into the Europa League spots now. They're done. Like we're too far behind. Yeah. And I'm just at the point now where I've had enough, and it's got to the point where we need to do something to change it. And you know what? I don't agree with what Man United fans did with the flares and stuff. But I'm at that point now where I feel like maybe just stopping the games from happening by just sitting in front of the team.
Do you know what it is, mate? They don't care. The Cronkies aren't even gonna. Do you know what the best thing we could do? Do you know what? This is what I think, right? If any of it, so people like yourself and your viewers and other bigger channels, we need to find as many American Arsenal fans and get these people communicating with each other. Okay, let's get the protests on his doorstep. And when I say doorstep, I don't mean his personal house. What I mean is in his he's bound to have offices at these franchises in the US. I don't
think that'll work. You know why? Because I don't think that'll work because look, he moved the Rams. True. Didn't he? And they in St. Louis, they're the most, they're the most passionate. They hate him. Do you know what I've said as well? We should do KSC, right? Yeah, they're a company, right? Yeah, they've got to have communication, so people must be able to publicly contact that company. I said if every Arsenal fan just spams their emails and telephone lines with just proper, do you know what I mean? Just saying we want the Cronkies out. Just send them mail, send them letters. They've got to have a head office, right?
You could do what they call a DDoS attack. If there's anybody that's an Arsenal fan and they're into hacking and things like that, you can take websites down. I work in IT. If you know what you're doing, people can do stuff like that. The reality is that unfortunately, as much as we can be an inconvenience to this man or men, if you want to include Josh, the reality is that it's all about money. And it's very easy. I've seen Man United are now trying to push this. They're going around, I think, TeamViewer. They've gone on Trustpilot and just destroyed TeamViewer's ratings. We can go to all our sponsors and do these kind of online, leave poor ratings, really affect the sponsorship so that they get the phone call and they ring Cronky and go, look, we're getting destroyed here. What's going on? You need to, but realistically, I'll use TeamViewer as an example for Man United. If TeamViewer call Man United and say, look, we're paying you money for sponsorship here and you upset your fans and now you're ruining our brand, you're affecting our online presence, all that's going to happen, they'll terminate Man United and Man United will go, okay, who's TeamViewer's competitor? logmein.com or whatever they're called, and then they'll ring them up and say, okay, I want to do a sponsorship. Somebody else will fill that void, and that's the problem. You can hit them in the pocket with marketing and sponsorships, but there's so many companies out there that will happily jump in and pay the money in response that I feel like you're even fighting a losing battle there. And Daniel, I've got to be honest with you, mate, protests, complaining, like we say, do what you're saying, spam up their communications lines, spam up their websites, bring them down, delay games. I genuinely think the only way this is going to happen is if they do say, do you know what, we've got a price, it's in that envelope, and if somebody comes in and puts, you know, that bid in that hits that number, that's the only way they're going to go, and it's depressing, mate. You know, it's just, I hate, you know. I'm quite an upbeat person. Like, I like to think of myself as relatively upbeat. I'm pretty passionate, but today, mate, I've got to be honest with you. Like, I felt pretty down. I've been down about the Cronkies for some time, but you know, I just don't see how we can do it. I mean, you know, is Daniel Ek going to put a bid in the coming days? If he does, it's going to get rejected, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, there's 28 in chat. Hit the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button if you're new. Would really appreciate that. Do you know what it is though, Scott? Right? Yeah, I just look on it. We need to do something, and I think if we stop the games, the reason why I think stopping the games will work is because the Premier League and FA will have to investigate. You know, they have to reschedule. Like the Man United Liverpool game, they had to reschedule. And I think if we did that for every single game, like there's going to come a point where there's going to be so much pressure.
But do we have the stamina for that? Do we have, you know, like for me, I'll give you an example. I live 2 hours away from London, right? I got to the recent protest, but I had to take the pretty much the day off work. Have we got the stamina as a fan base to be that persistent?
I think we should do every single approach. Stop the games, attack the company, like just massively, because listen, let's be honest, if they hardly ever come to games, so just sitting in a 60,000 seater stadium, 60,000 fans going Cronky out, it's pointless. It's just a waste of time. They're never gonna, they're probably not even gonna care. So I think that's a waste of time. But I think, right, we need to take drastic action, like in terms of just, people say stop buying merchandise.
It's a drop in the ocean, Daniel.
Is that going to really work? It's not really going to work. Giving up your season ticket's not going to work, because you give up your season ticket, there's 1,000 other Arsenal fans that will go, do you know what? I want a season ticket. So that's pointless exercise. Paying for your season ticket and not turning up to games, it's pointless because they've already got their money. So that, again, Daniel, is not going to work.
Sorry to interrupt. I just had an idea, actually. I've just thought of this. It's so annoying, the whole COVID situation with regards to our football club. Obviously, COVID is bad, obviously, on its own, but it has made it a lot harder. We got 10,000 people possibly allowed to get into the Brighton game. And obviously, at the beginning of next season, you know, all being well with the vaccines and everything else, hopefully we'll be able to get full stadiums again. Instead of going in and then doing like a walkout or a turnaround, what about the 10,000 that go at Brighton, or the first game of next season, go to the game, but actually don't go in the stadium? Like, have the so they sell it out. They have to come on the tannoy and go, attendance 60,000, but it's one man and his dog. Everybody go to the game, but actually stand round the stadium, 60,000 people around the stadium, protest, do everything we've done before, but do it on the game, but also have the ability to go in the stadium, but don't actually go in the stadium. So when Sky or BT have got it on, they're going to literally be like, well, it's an empty stadium, guys. You can see this, but there is actually 60,000 people outside the stadium. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I did think about that, you know. I did think about maybe just going to the game and just standing outside, you know, not going into the stadium. But I don't know whether that's going to be enough. I've seen a lot of people saying the best thing is getting the government involved. I'm not so sure on that either. I'm honestly not so sure on that. I actually think as well, you know, having Daniel Ek and these consortium of legends, I think that might go a long way as well, because
fan pressure.
You know, the legends not backing. Yeah, and I think like I said it, and we said it before. Daniel Ek today would be the perfect day to lodge that bid. And honestly, when the fan base is against Arteta, against Cronky, make that bid, and all these legends need to come out and say and stand with the fans. And I know they have, but they need to come out and go, do you know what? This is unacceptable. Yeah.
I'm just looking on Twitter, Daniel. Sky Sports are reporting that Daniel Ek did not make his bid yesterday because he didn't want to distract Arteta and the team. So I think it is coming. It's going to come. I think this bid is coming today or over the weekend. The thing is, what I like about it, Daniel, is that he's come out, he's gone public, which is perfect. It's like the best thing to do, because if it's done in the background, he puts a bid in, it gets rejected, and we're none the wiser. He's done the best thing by letting us know. It allows us to back someone, because let's have it right. You know, we might be sitting here in 10 years' time and go, oh my God, we thought Cronky was bad. Look how bad Daniel Ek is. Sometimes it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But realistically, we'll take anyone that will just give us, I feel like we just need a clean slate. Even if Daniel Ek come in and he was just as bad as the Cronkies, I'm willing to take that gamble. But what I think's good about it is that he said, Thierry Henry said, was it Henry? I don't know, but somebody said that basically they're going to put the bid in, and then they pretty much know it's going to be rejected, but they're going to say, there you go, I'm putting it on the table. There's the offer. I know you're not interested. I know you don't want to get involved, but it's there. Walk away, let them simmer and think, and let's where we got a hope. Because whatever the bid is, if they're going for 1.8 billion, that's not Daniel Ek's highest price, right? No businessman worth his salt goes in with his highest bid. So if he goes in with 1.8, perhaps mentally he's thinking, I'll go to 2.2 or 2.1. He's allowing that room for negotiation. What we've got to hope and pray is that with the fan uprest, with the fact they haven't got the guaranteed Super League funds, which would have been perfect for the Cronkies, guaranteed money, little work for
Scott, can I ask a favor, mate? Can you see the comments?
I can,
mate. Can you see the comment? Can you read them out while I just quickly dash to the loo? I'm sorry, mate. Do you know what it is?
You go.
I was sat here and I was like, oh my God, I should have bloody gone before we started.
Go for it, Daniel. Go for it, Daniel. Go for it. Everybody, if you're new to Daniel's channel, make sure you like and subscribe. And he's nearly on 2K, so we've got to get him here. Let's have a look. Let's bring. I can't bring them up on the screen, guys, but I can read some of your comments out. What we got here? Ricardo says, I know they won't leave their clubs. We need to go in another direction. I don't want to play beautiful football, but don't win games. There should be balance. That's why I like Moyes and Ancelotti. Obviously, you know, we're discussing names and who we could get in. Anish says, Cronkies are owning Arsenal for making cash, and they are not going to sell it till they are making cash. Fan base can keep on protesting. The Cronkies won't budge. Sad, but true. This is the thing, you know, like, we can be defeatist. We could just give up and just assume. But at the end of the day, as fans, we just got to keep going, guys. Arsenal Maniac says it will be televised worldwide. It will damage the sponsors. Out view of Arsenal will lose sponsors. Do we even have any big sponsors anymore? I doubt it. Yeah, that's it. You know, good shout, Arsenal Maniac. I genuinely don't even know who are. I mean, we've got Visit Rwanda. I don't pay attention to our sponsors, but you know, as I said to you guys earlier, I think that if we manage to get rid of one, some other sponsor will come in, because Arsenal's a big entity. It's a massive entity. Tony says Benitez is free, as James said. He'll do a job. Won't be exciting, but at least with him you'll win games. Cheddar says paying for your season ticket and not showing up, it's like paying for a hooker. She knows she shows up and you're not there. You're the one missing out. If I could give you a boom, yes, on my channel, I'll give you a boom for that one. That's a hilarious comment.
Yeah, big up, back, mate. Big up, yeah, do you know what? Right, that's embarrassing. It always happens, mate. I sit on the stream and I'm like, I need to go to. And it's mad when you do a solo stream as well. And it was the same with
5 hours last night. I did from 7:30 and I got off at 2. So 7.5 hours. I did not move from this desk. When I got off, I didn't realise. I think I'd gone past the point of needing to go to the toilet. I went and I was going for about half hour. I couldn't stop.
Yeah, it's mad, mate. It's mad.
Yeah, there's some Arsenal, great comments.
You joker, you joke. But you know what? It's fun. It's funny. But luckily I've got subscribers that just laugh, and it's nice. Honestly, mate, I tell you, if it wasn't for this YouTube channel, this season wouldn't have been bearable. It's because of everybody in the chat. It's bearable, you know, and it is like this is what supporting Arsenal is like. It's about making friends as well, you know. And that's why it's harder when people say don't go to games, because it's nice to link up with the Arsenal community. Even if the game's crap, you just still get to socialize. And this is why it's so they've got us by the balls, these owners, because they know the passion that we're passionate, and it's kind of like we're living by that sword, but we're also dying by that sword, because it's great, but it's also the thing that could cost us.
Yeah, it's just, you know, they have got us by the balls, whichever way you look at it, absolutely, because there's no other businesses in the world, is there, really, where you can treat your customers like utter shit and they will keep coming back and taking it on the chin. I can't think of another environment. I work in IT, right? And we get something slightly wrong for one of our customers and we get so much hell for it. They want refunds, they want credits to their balance. And then when their contract comes to renewal, they're like, right, we're off, we're going. But with Arsenal, these owners, have, you know, as much as they say, oh, you know, they're in it just for the money and everything else, they're not stupid. They know that whatever happens, you know, to my dying breath, I am tied to this club emotionally, you know, and yes, I could make a decision not to buy merchandise, but at the end of the day, it's very hard. If I decide to not buy merchandise, not pay for my football, my subscriptions, not go and buy not get some new Adidas trousers for my birthday or anything like that, it's very hard for you to pull yourself away from that like that. And they know that. They just completely abuse us. And there was that comment there about the hooker and, you know, paying for it and not having it. It just, yeah, I just don't think it's fair. It's not fair for us to have to make these decisions. And look at Newcastle. I mean, I lived in Newcastle for a few years, so I know their fan base really well. I've got some friends up there, and they've been how we're feeling now. They've been feeling this way for over a decade. But the only difference being is their owner's been open and said, look, I'll go. If I get what I want, I'll go. We haven't even got that benefit. Like if Cronky come out tomorrow and said, you know what, we are open to selling, but we ain't telling you what the price is until someone, you know, like a blind, what do they call it? You know, when you do an auction, but you don't actually know, like, you know, when you do a house and you can put a bid in but you don't know which the winning bid's going to be. You know, I think for me, they could do something like that, but it'd be great. It'd be great if you heard that, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen, mate. I just have this gut feeling that it's the next 18 months to 2 years, or it never happens.
Yeah, it's just mad. Honestly, this is why honestly, everyone's talking, like people are talking about the game on Sunday. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it. Like, this is just me being honest. I don't even know if I'm, and with these previews and reviews, I don't even know. Like, I just, the club don't care. Do you know what I mean? It's just mad. It's just, honestly, this season.
Do you know what makes me sad, Daniel? I see certain people in the community.
I feared
who say,
this scenario. I feared this scenario. You know, I feared it. In my heart, there was a little part of me that was like, okay, maybe we could scrape through, and, you know, Arteta's been lucky this season, so maybe the luck will continue. But I'm sort of now going, is this the best thing? Because now it kind of highlights everything, the Cronkies, Arteta, or is it, I don't know. It's mad. And honestly, it's Arsenal just suck the life out of you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's the hope that kills you, Daniel. It's the hope. They always say it. You know, it is the hope. Let me ask you a question, Daniel. The pain that you felt last night. So, I mean, I was saying before last night's game was the biggest game since Baku. It was bigger than the FA Cup because it meant more to the club, right? We got FA Cups coming out of our ears. So for me, that was the biggest game since Baku. How do you compare how you're feeling today in comparison to then?
So sorry, say that again.
So how do you feel, like, as in emotionally with the club? Like, how much did that defeat? Well, you know, we basically lost last night. How does that feel in comparison to Baku? Like, does this hurt more? Do you feel as though this is more deep rooted?
It's kind of different for me, you know, because Baku was like, it was horrendous, right? And that hurt. But this, I don't know, like this, I don't know. It's weird because Baku, I felt like we threw, you know, Champions League away. We threw that away, didn't we?
Yeah.
With Baku, we had it and then we threw it away. We were competitive, and then you know, for whatever reason, Emery just had a madness and threw it away. And that was kind of, I was like, listen, that you can't be forgiven. So we actually had it there. This this feels worse in my opinion, because when we done it with Emery, like we threw top four away, and then obviously that horrendous thing in Baku, I feel like we had much worse players than we've got now. But we've got, with the players we've got, and this is why it hurts more, and this is why Arteta is, and I genuinely believe this, right? Yeah, this is not me bullshitting you or accepting that this is not me sticking up for the players or anything, but I genuinely believe if we had somebody with experience, we'd be in that final. We'd be in that final, even with these group of players. We'd be in that final. Whether we win it might not be good enough to win it, but we'd be in there. And we would be, especially with the way this season's gone, we would be nearer to that top four if we had an experienced manager. Because, listen, when you look at that league table all this season, we had chances to be there in that top four.
I think this season, the legacy that Arteta is leaving behind, if he does get sacked on this season, I mean, let's have it right. Like, how are we finishing below Spurs this year? I mean, they've been shit. They've had the Mourinho collapse, and we've still managed to find a way of even finishing below them. This season, credit to West Ham, they've stepped in. Credit to Leicester, although Leicester, I'm not sure they're going to hold on, but I hope they do. This isn't the most competitive season. So I was talking to someone the other day who was saying, the Premier League's tougher now than it was 5-10 years ago, but I'm not sure I agree. Like, I don't know. I just feel I'm not sure we were ever going to be canned. I don't think at the beginning of the season we could genuinely look ourselves in the mirror, look at our transfer business, look at last season and say hand on heart, yeah, we are going to make top four. Man City are guaranteed. Liverpool obviously should have been guaranteed. Chelsea, everybody were tipping for the title. So that only leaves one spot. What made us think at the beginning of the season that we could? We deserve to be in there over a Leicester, over a Spurs, pre-Mourinho collapse, over a United. But what we do have, Daniel, and what you just said is correct, is that we sure as hell should have been competing for top six.
Yeah, and Anish says it right. Baku was against the better team. Yesterday was against the poor team. Yesterday was 50% players. 50% manager, and in Baku it was all the players.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
I don't know.
I think
Arsenal just suck the life out of you. Do you know what I mean? Like I like having the life
delete
sucked
club.
out of
It's
me,
a
but
FIFA
not in
moment.
this
It's
way.
a delete
Do you know
club
what I mean?
button.
It is. Do you know what I mean? I like being sucked off, but not like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, seriously, it's total bollocks, mate. It really is. Like, it's just it's draining. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what? Like, my doctor, right? Yeah, when I had depression and anxiety, and I come out and I even said to my my counselor, like, he said, go and do something that try and stay away from things that make you depressed. And I turned around and said, it's hard because I'm an Arsenal fan. And he said, I can see your point.
I'm sorry.
Like, no word of a lie. Like, it's mad.
Do you ever remember? Do you remember years ago that when people used to ask who you support, and you used to go, I support Arsenal, and stick your chest up, and like, I lived in Newcastle when we were like, invincibles, right? So obviously everybody around me supported Newcastle, or the occasional Sunderland fan, and obviously straight away, as soon as I opened my mouth, they realised I wasn't a Geordie, and they'd be like, "Oh, who do you support?" And I'd be like, "Arsenal," and they were like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, and that would be the end of the conversation, because I could talk to anybody. And I remember literally talking to people, and I used to be like, you know what, you got a quality team, like neutrals. Like Newcastle was a bit of a, not really a rival. But now, if I'm in a hairdresser's or something, and then, I'm talking to the guy and he's cutting my hair, and he's like, "Are you all right, man?" I'm like, yeah. What you been up to? I was watching the football. Soon, I hate it. I hate it when they ask me, they go, "Oh, who do you support?" And I go, "Arsenal." And then they straight away, and invariably they'll go, "Oh, I'm Chelsea." "Oh, I support United. I'm Liverpool." And then I hate the fact that I'm embarrassed to almost announce that my club, because we're a laughing stock. Like, we provide more entertainment to rival fans than they get from their own clubs.
Yeah, and it's mad because, do you know what? this is why I don't wear an Arsenal shirt now, because like I used to wear an Arsenal shirt and I'll be going about I'll get random strangers going, oh, you support Arsenal, and just taking the absolute wholesale piss. And you know that the sad thing is you can't disagree with what they're saying because they're speaking sense, you know. Yeah. And that's the thing is you can't like if. Like I got bantered the other day and I said, you know what? I can't even argue. I can't even disagree. Like, I honestly can't disagree with you because everything you're saying is true.
Yeah.
And it's mad. It's just
hard. It is hard. And I think the worst thing is, Daniel, is that I feel, and I think this is probably the one word I'm going to use here, which I think a lot of us probably feel today, is helpless. I feel like a boat without a rudder, or whatever the saying is. I'm bad with these kind of sayings, but I just feel helpless. Like I feel like there's nothing I can actually do. But you know, as I said earlier, I put a tweet out earlier like this, and this. You know, I want to make this quite clear to you, your viewers, and anybody else who watches this later this afternoon. Let's just remember, guys, we're all down today. We're all pissed off, but life is not all about football. You know, you know, there are more important things in life than football. And, you know, for people that are, you know, the mental health is a very big thing. You mentioned yourself, Daniel, you know, you suffered with anxiety and depression. And that's something that a lot of people do. And in times like now, there will be people that are suffering, and Arsenal are adding to that anxiety. Arsenal are adding to that depression. And what I stress to people if they're feeling that way is just do your utmost to stick your phone on airplane mode. Just pull yourself away from your social media accounts for a couple of days. Let it simmer. Try and find something else you can enjoy. You know, spend time with your friends and family if you can. Watch your favourite box set. Just switch off from Arsenal. But don't forget Daniel. Don't forget me and Daniel. We'll still be here on YouTube trying to provide you some sort of content. And, you know, we'll try and muddle through in the summer. But listen, as bad as it is and as bad as Arsenal are, there are other things in life, and I think we just have to try and remember that sometimes.
And it is, you know, you're absolutely correct. And you know, listen, there are other things, and just so happens today that you know, it's the funeral of Claude as well. So you know, Claude's they're laying him to rest today, and you know, just massive respect to everybody who is at the funeral. It's probably finished by now. I know it was taking place this morning, but yeah, we have to remember, and that's it. You know, when you lose someone like, you know, as popular as Claude was, you have to remember that there are other things in life than football, you know, and that's the thing. And you know, yeah, football is a big part of all our lives, and it's, you know, it's like an addiction. Whether you know, whether we're suffering, whether we're, you know, you just still follow the team, and it's mad. But yeah, you know, the content will still be here, and it's going to be tough as well, isn't it? It's just going to be so hard. Like,
yeah. I'm glad we got the Euros. I mean, for me, I mean, I only do the watch-alongs on my channel. I actually, when I started up the channel, I'll be brief on this because I can see time's getting on, but when I started up the channel, I was very self-conscious about going on live and doing a stream. I was like, oh, you know, never really been on camera. And I thought, do you know what, Scott? Just chuck yourself in a deep end, do a watch-along. Nobody will be watching, and it's just a bit of practice. And then I started adding more graphics to it and making the watch-alongs more complex. And I kind of feel like I'm stuck with these watch-alongs now because I've put so much work into it. But like you, I mean, I was on last weekend for the Newcastle game. I had an earache. I weren't feeling well. I didn't really want to watch the game. And about 3 people turned up, and I was like, do you know what it is? Why am I bothering? And the thing is, when the summer comes, and
because there's so many channels,
it's so much.
There's so many channels doing like it. Yeah, it won't be too bad for the Euros, because I was like this, and it won't be too bad for the Euros because you know, you get different audiences, and you know, I'm gonna cover the Euros on this channel, doing watch-alongs, and I want to watch football like and not stress.
Yeah,
like watching football and stressing about Arsenal. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of Gareth Southgate at England, but I just want to watch some football and get pumped up for, you know, the Euros, and try and, you know, just not stress about, like, when you're watching Arsenal, let's be honest, it is stressful. And this is why you know, I kind of stopped doing the watch-alongs you know, the Arsenal watch-alongs, just because I couldn't really follow the game like I really wanted to, and it was so tough, you know. So, but I'm gonna do the watch-alongs for the Euros and cover it, and you know, maybe, you know, the England games. It's going to be hard as well because things are opening up over here as well, aren't they? So,
yeah,
you know, when pubs open and.
Yeah, I said this to my viewers the other day. I was like, well, no disrespect, but you know, the channel's very young, very, very small. I've only got a small community, you know, like, you know, so I was kind of like, well, if I've got the opportunity to go to the pub with my friends out in the sun, barbecue and a few beers, something I can only do once every 2 or 4 years, or do a watch along and talk to 3 people. No disrespect to those 3 people, but that life experience, I'm going to get more out of going to the pub. But like, yeah, like you know, obviously the other games and stuff, we'll cross that bridge. What I wish we could do, Daniel, is just do a fast forward now, just skip to the beginning of the season and see who's the manager, see who's the owner, see who we've bought and who we sold, and then I'll make a judgment call on whether I'm happy. But we got to draw it out. It's that long, painful, like, you know, last night, the whole game was just, it was like a slow death. It was like, do you know what? I wish we can see.
Do you know what's going to be worse as well? Do you know what's going to be worse as well? And I'll just get this in because we've just crossed the hour mark, so I'm going to end the show very shortly. But what's going to be hard for me is knowing, like, seeing all the people talking about the Europa League final, and it's just going to be. It was the same it was the same when we got knocked out to Atletico. I was like, oh my god! And then, like, now my mind is not on Arsenal. My mind's like, I'm looking forward to the Euros now. Do you know what I mean? Like, my mind and like these Arsenal games, watching it, I don't even know if I'm going to even watch the game on Sunday. Like this is why I'm like, when it comes to doing a preview or a review, I'm just like, I don't know. I'd rather just do some other content, make it fun for the viewers, get them on, and I'm just like, because I'll be honest, I don't even know if I'm going to watch the game. Like, I probably won't.
You won't be the only one, Daniel.
I'm like 90% not going to watch the game. So I'm not going to come on here and bullshit.
If you did? You know,
I'm not going to, but I'm not going to come on here and I'm not going to come on here and bullshit going, oh yeah, the game was good. If I didn't watch it, I'm not going to do, like, do you know what I mean?
No.
And you can't get up for it. You can't get up for the game. It's just going to be like,
if Party plays on Sunday and puts one in top bins, he finally scores a goal. Are you going to jump out your seat? You're going to go, all right, okay, where was that? You know, like, that's the thing, isn't it?
Do you know, it's funny, Scott, I said this yesterday I said this as well. It wouldn't surprise me, and this will be classic Arsenal, right? And I'm kind of hoping we don't do this, because if we do this is going to piss me off even more.
I know
it wouldn't surprise me if we go and win all them 4 games, put a barnstorming performance against Chelsea, play out our skins, and we win all 4 games. That's gonna make me so angry.
And still miss out on Europe. Yeah. Piss me off. I want us to lose them all. Fuck it.
So do I. I want us Chelsea to do us like 6-0. Like, highlight the
come
problems.
on, Daniel. Let's not give the bloody chavs more reason to mug us off. No, like, we can lose to Chelsea, but let's not get smashed. But yeah, I couldn't care less about the results, just like you.
But listen, guys, we've reached the end of the show. Scott, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, mate. I really, really appreciate it. I know we've been trying to do this for a while. It's just shame about the circumstances, but I feel like we've tried to put a positive, or tried to make the best of a bad situation as we can. So,
yeah. And listen, guys, do hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new, and also check out the Red Cannon on YouTube. So do go over there and give Scott a subscribe. I think you're at 600 now, are you? You 700?
No, 739. So yeah, if we get to 750 over the weekend, that will be good. It's slow and steady, but I did 8 hours worth of streaming yesterday. I've been I just feel like I've got to pay my dues a bit. I try and do a stream every day. I'm going to head over on my channel in a minute. So if anybody wants to come over and get a bit more of my thoughts on last night's game, by all means, come over with me. I'll be on there in about 10 minutes. But yeah, as I say, I try and upload daily. We do the watch-alongs. We do the phone-in show, which is becoming quite popular after the games. Had some guests on. I had Curtis Shaw was on a couple of weeks ago. And Daniel, I'd love to get you over sometime, mate, hopefully in better circumstances anyway.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Anytime, I'm always around. But yeah, go and check out his channel. You're almost at 1,000 as well. Like, you're pretty going going great guns with that.
Yeah,
So
I think we're a couple of months away. Probably, I set a target by Christmas, so anything.
do you know
what?
I was because I saw your stream. The what was it? The one you done from the stadium, and I saw that
it
you
went mental, didn't it?
honestly,
Yeah.
you had like 800 people in the chat at one point, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's a shame that you couldn't go live when right from the because
When I
I
was
think
meant
if you
to.
would have gone live, yeah, you would have got 800 people subscribing, and I
Mate,
think
what happened?
because
what happened,
it took a
Daniel?
long. I think people just tuned out and was like they didn't stick around.
What happened is I set the stream up before I left the house. I went and got to the station. I knew I was going to be a couple of hours away, but because I use OBS, I had to, because I've got less than 1,000 subscribers, I can't use my phone to stream. So I clicked the button. I thought I'd get 10, 15 people because a few people asked. I got to the station, I've looked and I'm like, fuck me, I got 200 people in my chat. What's going on? And everyone's subscribing and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm getting excited, but then all the trains got cancelled at Gillingham and nothing was getting past. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't get to London. And then like you say, all of a sudden I've got 800 people in there. And then literally I'm shitting my pants. I'm thinking, if I don't get to this protest, because I rang my missus, she had to bomb it down the motorway, pick me up from the train station, took me to Ebbsfleet on the fast train, and I ended up getting there, I think about 6:45, so I was late, and I was running down the tube station, and my mate got there before, and I sent him the link and said, look, listen, by the way, I know I haven't seen you for 2 years, but by the way, I've got a YouTube channel. Do you mind doing a live stream for me? But yeah, as you said, everybody just got pissed off because they thought I was doing a scam. But I did gain 200 subscribers. But yeah, if it weren't for the trains, you know, maybe I would have kept those people. But oh mate,
Yeah.
I was so stressed because I didn't want to let people down, and everyone in the chat was going, oh, Scott, you know, this is fake. You're not really doing it. But something must have happened in the YouTube algorithm that randomly, I mean, I got 32,000 views, and I mean, I'm not being funny. I'm lucky if I get 100 views on a normal day. It was ridiculous. So,
Mate, I've had that as well. But listen, guys, we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Listen, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Do you know, it's hard. I don't even know when I'm going to be back next. I'll try and pop on and do a stream tomorrow. Listen, it's grueling, but, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, thank you to everybody who's tuned in. You guys, you know, this season have kept me going this season after, you know, a difficult season. But, yeah, listen, I'll be back tomorrow. Take care, guys. Look after yourselves.
bye-bye.